Hello everybody, my name is Lukáš Zapotal of Foreman core team, and I'll be showing you Discovery PXE-less demo today. Discovery is a plugin for Foreman that allows bare metal provisioning and discovery, and it works in cooperation with DHCP, TFTP, and PXE protocols and technologies. And the way it works is it boots up once a new hardware boots up, and via TFTP and DHCP and PXE, it downloads the discovery image. Then the discovery image registers into Foreman and awaits orders. The order is usually reboot or refresh facts, and once Foreman sets everything up, it reboots once again into the install usually. We plan to extend the discovery image with other features like upgrading firmware, kernel drivers, or maybe image-based provisioning, but this is a little bit far future. Today I'll be showing you PXE-less Discovery. It sounds weird, but let me explain it a little bit. There are environments when you do not want to use DHCP and TFTP for some reasons, security maybe, or other things. And in this case, you can't actually use Discovery at all until today, because without DHCP and without TFTP, there's no PXE booting. So there's no way to PXE boot to load a kernel, because Discovery is basically a stripped down Linux distribution. It's basically CentOS 7 or RHEL 7 if you do upstream or downstream. To work around that, we made changes in the Discovery plugin, in the image itself, and in the Smart Proxy Discovery Proxy plugin. And there is also a new proxy plugin that runs inside that image. So there are a couple of changes there. And this allows users now to take the Discovery image ISO file and burn it into a CD-ROM, DVD-ROM, or even using DD command, it is possible to transfer it into a USB stick or something similar, even a hard drive, and boot from there. And the way we've designed this is I'll be showing you a text user interface that will show up, and users will be able to fill in network credentials, fill in connection credentials to Foreman or Foreman proxy, and provide and ability to provide custom facts. We wanted to be as compatible as possible for this first version of PXE-less Discovery, and we didn't want to introduce new APIs on the Foreman side. So what we will leverage, or what we are using for this feature, are discovery rules. So I'll show you that in a minute. So what do we have now here on the screen? Let me just switch there. Is my development instance of Foreman, and we have a Discovery plugin enabled. This is a patched version I'm working currently on. The work has been done. I'll show you where the pull requests are, so you can chip in and start reviewing that. And so this is a typical setup. One noticeable change, I changed the Discovery Auto from false to true, because we'll be using Discovery rules and auto discovery feature, which is a feature of the stable Discovery plugin today. And it is turned off by default because it's a little bit too dangerous to do that auto discovery or auto provisioning of incoming new bare metal systems. So you need to turn it on explicitly, and everything else is just just normal. Please scratch this particular variable. This is from my development round. It won't be present in the final version. I'll delete that. It's actually not in the code base, but I forgot to delete this one. So what we have is a pretty clean installation. No hosts, no discovered hosts, or there are a few. These are not relevant. These are a little bit older. Didn't reported in the last 7 days, but the green icon usually we'll see usually means that the discovered host reported in the last 24 days. So these are a little bit old. Never mind. And what we have here is we have a host group. Host group called, I think, CentOS 6 or something like that. Oh, yeah. And it's a typical host group with all the provisioning information filled in. All the parameters, network, operating system is CentOS 6.6. So let's see. We have operating system CentOS 6.6 defined on this screen. And what I want to show you is, with this feature, a new template kind called KExec has been added. And for this particular operating system, we have set a Discovery Red Hat KExec template. So let's head over to Discovered Provisioning Templates and see what is this all about. So the way it works, the way discovery workflow, the PXE-less Discovery workflow work is pretty much similar to normal discovery, except the text user interface and interactivity. You need to, because without DHCP there's no network, so you need to provide the network credentials. You need to also provide a foreman connection and some custom facts. But then it reports just in a normal way. But there is one difference. We can't reboot the system because it was booted from USB stick, and once we reboot it, it will forget everything, all the details, all the network settings and everything. We need to reboot into in the installer Anaconda in the Red Hat case, in a different way, and we are using a KExec utility which reloads, or which is able to load a different or load the same or different kernel directly without rebooting the host itself. And for that, we need to somehow provide parameters and options to the KExec command, which will be executed on the discovered node. And this is where KExec kind of templates chips in. So it's a template, typical template. We have some headers. So this is Red Hat compatible one, and actually it's a very simple one. It's a JSON that needs to return 3 items: kernel, initram, and append. And we, discovered node, pass this into the KExec command. If you don't know, and if you never if you haven't seen KExec, just read a manual page, and this will make sure that this is passed in the KExec correctly. So usually this will be the same for all the distributions like Debian or SUSE. The only difference will be append line usually. So in the Red Hat case, we're appending Kickstart, of course, and the one that is also important is boot IF for RHEL 7s or Fedora 16s or better, and KS device for RHEL 6 or lower. This changed in the RHEL 7 version or CentOS 7. We need to provide which interface we have configured. So which interface will be used to actually fetch the Kickstart template. So this is something you don't usually need to change this. Once we merge this feature, we will provide, of course, this template with foreman, and it will be all set. So this is a template you want to only change in case you need to use the blacklist a driver or something. Basically, you need to provide some different kernel options. So we have operating system, we have everything else, and as I've said, we'll be provisioning via discovery rules. Because, as I've said, we wanted to leverage as many features as possible, and maybe later on we can expand and extend the text user interface. I'll show you in a minute with the different things like select a host group or something. We could do that, but we need to extend the API a little bit, and we need to somehow also include authentication and do authorization. With discovery rules, the way they work is that these are location and organization aware. So these work with all the incoming systems from all networks as configured. So this is our setup. And I'll now switch over to the VM I'm running and show you how this works in real. So let me stop the sharing now. Hopefully this works, and I will re-share my screen. Switch over to this host. So now you should see a VM. This is Libvirt KVM QM system, and this is mounted with this with the new build of Discovery image. It's a version 3.0.0. And so we see syslinux. Usually you don't need to change the kernel command line, but I've stopped. I've terminated the countdown, and I've added FDI SSH some debug flags. Because I want to upgrade one package. I found a bug in the morning, and I haven't been able to build a new image yet. So normally you just boot it and wait. So I'll hit enter. And you will see this is really booting from the ISO, not connecting through a network or anything. So, as I've said, this is CentOS 7 currently upstream, but downstream we have a RHEL 7, of course. And so we saw a network manager coming up and stuff. And now, normally with Discovery image 3.0, now if you boot it up, you'll see a text user interface with some things like IP address and interesting facts, and ability to do some things like investigate system logs. But so this is a added value of this feature. Before this PXE-less Discovery feature, there was no text user interface. But if you boot from an ISO file or USB stick, the text user interface immediately switches over to this welcome screen, which somehow describes what will happen in a couple of next screens. So what I will do now is I could go back to Discover, and so the system would attempt to do a DHCP discovery in a normal way, but I will click on Proceed because I want to try the PXE-less Discovery.
Just a question. Does that mean that this will work for environments that don't have a PXE environment set up, but they do have a DHCP?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So the question is, if I click back on to Discover, it means that I have a DHCP server but no PXE infrastructure, right? So I could use that to use the DHCP infrastructure, let's say in an office network or something that does have a DHCP but no PXE environment.
No, that would try to attempt. Yeah, right. You're right. Okay, that's a good point. Yeah. So basically,
so effectively, what I'm choosing here is DHCP or manually configure the network.
Yeah, right. Yeah, thanks for the input. I'd like to ask people who will review the stuff to also review these screens, texts. I was really trying hard to explain things, but since we changed the workflow 2 times already, some screens might be a little bit misleading. The button names should be perhaps different. So yeah, thanks for the point. I'll make a note and change that. Okay, thanks. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on Proceed now. I showed with a list of all the interfaces that this system has. It has 2 interfaces currently, and so we also show which are connected, so which have a link up. In my case, both. And we're asking currently which interface do you want to provision through. So which is what we call a primary interface. So I know this it's 41. I'll select this one. And now on this screen, I need to configure network credentials. We currently only support IPv4. So let me do this. 192.168/24. 1, and we only provide 1 DNS server. It's useless, I mean, you don't need to provide 2. Because the only thing we'll do is just boot into the send fax actually. So okay, and the moment I click next, the network manager on the background reconfigures or configures the network interface now statically without the DHCP. Before I continue now, I need to upgrade I need to upgrade a RPM package on the background, so I just switched over my terminal here, which is not shared, and I've upgraded one package there, so and restarted the screen. So we need to do it this one more time. This is a technical reason because I had a bug in the morning, so I will select this interface once again. As you can see, and it remembers what was already there. So we can proceed now. Now it asks us for a foreman URL, so we can provide either foreman URL direct connection or a proxy connection. In case of downstream satellite capsule, you'd change port to 9090, or you'd enter 9090. In my case, this is already filled in because if you have a DNS service record with the x_foreman, it will reuse that. So I don't need to even type it in. But on there are some deployments without this DNS setup, so you need to enter everything. And yeah, and we can click on next. And this is the last screen where we need to provide some facts. This is a little bit simple, but it works. So the idea behind this is, and I'm not sure if I showed you my my foreman list of discovery rules, but I have several rules there, as things like if fact name deployment is equal to DB, then proceed with the database system host group. If not, then proceed with the I don't know, the discovery rules how they work. So let me do this. Some facts have some value, whatever. Like server, well, I don't know. And this way you can tell how you can basically select the host group you want to provision with. And now the most interesting part, once I hit submit, the discovery node will send facts together with those user facts. It will be fast, so I'm describing this. It will trigger the auto provisioning if that's globally turned on, which I made sure it's turned on. And then it finds a rule according to the facts we provided, and then it will initiate a reload or reboot, reloading the kernel into the installer. So I hit submit, and in a couple of seconds we'll see this kernel replaced with a different one, and this is actually Anaconda loading up. Basically, it first downloads the kernel and image onto the memory, and then boots it into it. And it passes the correct network interface, so a network is already is configured properly, and yeah, and this is it. It starts with provisioning. The only limitation, I don't have a disk associated with this VM because I don't want actually to start, as I would do this 20 times a day. But it would, install the system, and what we see is a normal, pretty much normal foreman bare metal provisioning now process without any, differences. We just changed the way how we got there. The only missing bit here in this workflow is, I think, I need to change the template, the KExec template, to be able to set up a network statically, because, as you said, the network manager in the Anaconda was configuring by DHCP. And on my network, I have to say I have DHCP enabled, so I need to test this without DHCP, and there will be slight change in the parameters I need to pass in the network credentials to transfer them from the discovered node to the Anaconda. But this is I'd say, piece of cake, the last thing I need to solve. And this is it. So let me just, before we get to questions, I'll unsure and I'll head over back to my foreman instance, and we should see a new host here has been created using a discovery rule. So I have a couple of discovery rules. This one has a prefix SRB, so this always rule has been triggered. So this obviously triggers always as it has a CPU count equals or bigger than 0, and it sets the host name with the server prefix, server dash, and IP address. So this is pretty much it. Now your questions and comments, please. I'll be monitoring a QA session, of course, so please you use our ISO channel or chat or the Q&A.
Lucas, David asked on IRC, when is the location fact added?
At the moment, let me head over. At the moment, the Discovery only allows users to set Discovery location and organization statically, I mean in the global settings. So all the discovered hosts belong to a single organizational location. This is how it works today. And the plans are we should be able to set locations and organizations via Discovery rules. So if there's so basically you could set a location and organization according to any facts. So basically in the custom facts screen, the last one in the text user interface, one would be able to set up a location and organization using any fact, any value there. But we don't have this feature yet in Foreman Core. So we're not trying to solve this in this patch, so it's not there yet. This is a limitation how it works now.
I have a question here regarding the ISO file. So how that file will be generated? Is it like a boot disk ISO, or will it be part of the Foreman distribution?
Yeah, good question. Thanks. The Discovery ISO, the difference between boot disk and Discovery, we already have a Foreman boot disk plugin which tries to solve the same situation to some degree. There is a full host image which is based on SysLinux and includes kernel and image and does not need a DHCP. But the main difference between Discovery and boot disk is that boot disk is generated per host or per subnet, per instance, per deployment. So you generate basically on your installation instance. But Discovery ISO will be generated and provided by Foreman team, or in case of Satellite 6 by Red Hat. As a package, of course, will be part of a Discovery image package, and that won't change. So the Discovery image will be always the same for all our users. So that's the reason why we need to type a little bit more information. So that's the reason why it's more interactive, because it's not changing per deployment or per environment.
So does that mean that that image would be same for PXE-based Discovery as well as PXE-less Discovery? The same image will be used.
Yeah. We're not introducing a new image. It's the very same image. Only the form is different. We'll provide now. We've been providing a kernel and image in a tarball, which were deployed on a TFTP server. Following our setups, deployment instructions or installation instructions. Now we will provide an ISO file in addition to that, and basically the ISO file contains those two guys, but the code is the very same, and it does the same things, but differently with this with those interactive steps. So yeah. we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not adding a new artifact. It's just the same, but it's when Discovery sees that there's no DHCP, and when it sees it there was not a PXE, there was no PXE involved, then it shows you this welcome screen, and you're able to continue without this.
Okay, yeah, that answered my question. I have another question. On some of the screens, I think where we were specifying the IP address, I saw that we may need to pass the CIDR notation for the IP address.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious to know why that CIDR is required. If can't we specify a plain IP address over there?
Oh yeah, I was just trying to save extra field. So with this you only need 3 fields. With netmask you need 4 fields.
Right. Yes. Yes.
And there's no logic in that. Just was me lazy to implement another field for this. Yeah, the question about the locations of organizations. I'd like to put this into it, but let me show you. This patch is technically we're leveraging features of Foreman. We are doing minimal changes of everything to get a maximum output, maximum feature. And let me just quickly show you the pull request here. But it's maybe this is a question for Rod. Should I try to include organization and location selection in this patch, or to be honest, I'd like to pull this off this series of patches and do this as a separate one, because it's still useful even without PXE-less Discovery. It's a long-awaited feature as well. We have a issue tracker for this. So what do you think?
I think we have a similar functionality already today. When you import a host for the first time, let's say you're not provisioning it, and you have a new host coming up through Puppet Facts. If you have a fact called default organization and default location, as far as I remember, it will assign it to it automatically. So I guess we could try potentially leverage that. Obviously, this won't work as is because you get the facts at the wrong point. But you could easily parse that, following up the same name for the fact, and override the organization and location the user provides. So this will allow the user to key in organization and location.
Okay.
I don't want to complicate things by asking Satellite or Foreman which locations are available or something like that, because that will require authentication and things of that sort. But that will be, to me, could be an easy way out. But I do agree that since we provide the default organization and default location in the PXE, in the Discovery settings, we could use that in the meantime, and we could consider discussing this as a whole, both for PXE-based discovery and for boot ISO-based discovery, and try to come up with some flow for it as a follow-up step.
Okay, so I'll try to test this with the default location or default organization. I think it might work even without changes, and if it doesn't, I'll investigate this further, and I'd perhaps file a different patch to do this properly. But assigning organization locations, assigning taxonomy, and even authorization authentication is always an issue for Discovery, because Discovery is we are booting unknown hardware, and we need somehow to get in, and currently we don't authenticate users. But at some point, I think we will need to extend our workflow, the provisioning workflow, somewhere, because assigning organization and location just like that is a little bit dangerous. So it's up. We should give the users two tools, and they will decide how to implement. Even the current what we have now today can be somehow secured. You can, for example, you can require some fact called token or whatever you call it, and if the token is not set to some kind of secret value, that the provisioning won't start, the rule won't trigger. So to some degree, you can implement somehow some kind of security, but it depends, right? If you have access to the system that is running, on the provisioning network, that entitles you to do something. But yeah, sure, we should give our users tools for this. So this is the first step, I'd say. So let me quickly check our Q&A session. I don't see any. And then chat, do you guys have any other questions?
On the IRC channel, Shame is asking if it's possible to provide some sort of an answer file instead of manually feeding in.
Yeah, good question, and we have that. The moment you're booting the system, and this is actually it's documented. We have this is the pull request, the form discovery image, this the Git repo, and the PXE-less Discovery with two interfaces, the pull request you want to search for. And here is a rough description how to get things rolling. You need to build your own image. You need to apply 3 other patches. But I'll guide you. Don't worry. If you can start testing, I'll delete this first sentence in a minute. So do not test does not apply now. Please go ahead with testing. Please do the review. And the first thing I ask you to do is to search for README, and in the README, here we have it, is a list of things you can provide on the kernel command line here, and this will actually answer the questions. The only limitation is you need to you have all or nothing. You need to provide all, otherwise you get an error. You can't provide like I don't know, gateway and DNS won't change. So I want to provide this, and then I'll only provide a different IP address. It doesn't work this way currently, but yeah, we can discuss this in the review and maybe change that. Although the boot disk, although the discovery ISO is not changing per deployment or per host, you can. It's a normal, ISO file, and you can change the syslinux configuration. So it is possible to burn some values in the image before you start, with deployments. So I think it might be useful to have something like semi-automatic things like pre-fill information, but still ask me for all the missing things. But currently, this is not the case. We require all or nothing. Good question. Thanks. And this is recorded, so if you have further questions, please go ahead on the list. And again, I would like to ask you for a review. It's a tough one, but I enjoyed it. It's a lot of things. And so thanks for coming, and I'll see you later. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.